Hey, Lee Robinson here from American Sentinel K9. It's about 7:40 p.m. We started our day, of course, at like 5:30 in the morning. And since this is what I do part-time, I make my living as a biology teacher and drive a bus, and then we do the dogs as a personal interest slash business. We've been building it up for 20 years. And when I retire from teaching here in a few years, I'll be able to do this full time with some boarding and some board and train. But my goal has always been to breed the best dogs that I can. So that's going to be, a lot of what I continue to do. And when I retire, I plan on actually demoing these dogs a lot more than what I've been able to do, given my time schedule is. But we've been busy, with the new kennels. I will walk over there just to you can see it in the background as I make this video. But this video is about the future of the canine industry. Now, with it being said earlier that I teach biology for a living, there's a lot of stuff in our world that is a concern for the future. Artificial intelligence is going to replace a lot of the low-skilled jobs that are mundane and routine, like working at fast food restaurants. That's going to be gone. People need to be adaptable in the future. Here's our new kennel. So it's coming along nicely. But people need to be adaptable in the future. And the K9 is still the best security system, really. People just avoid the dogs. So there's a good chance that working dogs may still have a future. I'm not so sure about the pet industry. And the reason why I'm not so sure... Oh, hey! Hey! That's fine. There's nothing really going on. They just talking at each other over the fence barriers. But not so sure about the pet industry. And the reason why, let me go back to Elon Musk. He's a very intelligent guy. He made billions of dollars on PayPal, sold it, and decided he wanted to address some issues that are concerns for the world. One of those being clean energy. Another one being possibly to get off this planet so we can expand our territory. And another one that he wanted to do was deal with artificial intelligence, because he considers that to be one of the biggest threats in our future. Now, I'm not going to get into all of those. I don't believe we're going to be able to leave the planet. But I do want to address the overpopulation issue and how it relates to the canine industry. See, if you go back to the year 1800, there wasn't even 1 billion people on the whole planet. And in 1850, there was about 1.3 billion. Now we're at 7.6 billion. And we're supposed to be around 10 billion around 2050, which is the carrying capacity. And the reason that's the carrying capacity, that's the most number of people that the Earth can support, because only 11% of the land is able to produce food. Now, with that said, there may become a time when, in the future, in 30 years, of how many children you can have, it could be limited like they did in China at one time. They still are limited, but they've upped it to 2, I think now. It used to be 1 because they were overpopulated. But if you're having a hard time feeding humans, who's going to really have a pet? So, I have some concerns about that. Now, it's not a concern about for me personally, because I'm 50 years old, and when 2050 gets here, I'll be 81 years old. And so it's, like I said, it's not a concern for me personally, but it just makes me wonder, would this be a career that I would recommend for a young person? And, if you're going to get into patrol dogs, security dogs, something like that, perhaps it would be a good industry. If you're dealing with board and trains of those type of dogs, it could be a good industry. Dealing with pets, though, I don't know. I kind of have my doubts on that. So, my son is very interested. He's only 13 years old, and I'm going to kind of push him into the engineering because he loves math and science, something that incorporates his skill set. But if he wants to do the dogs, I'll support him in that. But I'm going to make sure that he understands that he needs a backup plan just in case things don't turn out like he hopes they will. We're going to continue doing this for the rest of my life. This is what I love to do, and I'm young enough I can get away with it without having to deal with the global concerns that the next generation is going to have to pick up. We need to consider it, we need to be respectful to it, and we need to be mindful of our resources. But as far as I'm concerned, the only aspects that I'm going to deal with is going to be trying to transfer over to clean energy when I can, and also making sure that we don't invent or doing my part to try to limit the intelligence of AI. And you know, AI is a big concern, facial recognition software. You can look up some of the stuff and you'll be surprised at how far AI has gone. And like I said, Elon Musk himself says that's probably the biggest threat of all, because, you know, overpopulation is 30 years away. Clean energy is at least several decades away as far as being a real concern for the average person. But AI could be a real threat, you know, sooner than we think. But anyway, that has nothing probably to do with the dogs. The dogs are still going to be able to eclipse a lot of the AIs when it comes to protection work and detection work. So the working dog, I think, has a solid future. Anyway, that's just a few thoughts that I wanted to share to our viewers. And until next time, y'all have a blessed night and take care.